Bella. I'm going to be asking you some questions today. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
How old are you, sir?
32 years old.
And you've been in prison for how long now?
14 years.
Tell me what happened. How did you get involved in this crime? Tell me what you and this other fella were doing. Tell me how this happened, that these men were killed and burned.
To be honest with you, I was hanging with the wrong crowd. Well, hanging with the wrong dude. Which,
Can I get
huh?
two number fours?
You still talking?
Number 4.
Just the South.
I'm not sure who that is or what that is, but
He's at McDonald's.
Okay, go ahead, Maribel.
okay, Mr. Martin, go ahead.
Okay. I was hanging with the wrong person and during the time of the crime, but I was helping the victim instead of me helping him. I was helping the victim. I was committing first aid to stop the victims from bleeding to death. Not only do I say that, but the firemen that got on the scene say someone tried to commit first aid on the victim to stop them from bleeding to death. So
You're saying you just were there. You didn't do anything. You tried to help the victims. Is that what you're telling me?
yes, sir.
Because I got police reports that suggest otherwise.
My police report. The only reason I was convicted of manslaughter is because of a felony theft. That's because my file partner, he used to stay with the people and he led me to believe that the stuff that he told me to take to the car was his, but they couldn't prove that it wasn't his. But like I say, I was only committed. I was only convicted of manslaughter because of a felony theft, not for killing nobody.
Mr. Martin,
Yes, sir.
that crime was horrible. You were involved in it. You're not going to accept absolute responsibility for what you did. You were convicted by a jury of manslaughter. They listened to all of the things you're trying to tell me now. I'm not trying to retry your case. I'm trying to make a determination as to whether or not you've accepted responsibility for the very horrible crime that was committed here.
I accept the responsibility, sir.
You don't sound like you are.
I accept it, but I'm just letting you know that I was convicted of manslaughter because of a felony theft.
You were convicted of manslaughter because 2 men died and you were involved. You aided and abetted in that. That's why you were convicted. Don't tell me what the law is. I know what the law is, and I know why you were convicted. Now, let's move on. Were you on drugs or alcohol when you were there that night?
No, sir.
Do you use drugs or alcohol, or did you use drugs and alcohol?
No, sir.
I noticed that you've lost 323 days of good time. Why is that?
The environment I was in the jails I was in, it was bloody. Like they do a lot of stabbing and all that. So it really was the environment I was in that made me lose.
So again, it's the people you hang with. It ain't you. You don't take no responsibility for what you do. It's everybody else around you. You're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, sir. I'm not saying that it wasn't me. I'm just saying the environment that I was in. It was me all the way. I would take all responsibility for that. It was me all the way, but it's just the environment I was in.
How much education do you have?
10th grade.
Now, you are currently bedridden. It's my understanding that was it in 2018, you jumped off of a cot and hurt yourself. Is that what happened?
No, I was jumped on by some officers at Lake Providence and maced and doing the cell and fell on the back of my neck. And like a year or so later, by me jumping up and down off a bunk. Hurt my spine again. But I fell back. This come from me falling back on my neck after being maced and doing the cell and fell back on the back of my neck.
Tell me about what your physical ability is now. What are you prohibited from doing? Can you walk at all?
No, sir.
Can you move your arms and legs?
My left side
Your left arm only?
and my leg.
And both legs or just one leg?
Just one. My left side of arm and leg.
Can you get around in a wheelchair?
No, sir, not by myself.
Well, I'm with assistance. Can you get around in a wheelchair with assistance?
Yes, sir.
You know, Mr. Martin, I understand you've got some physical issues, and I'm very concerned about that, and I'm sympathetic to you. But you know, you're not taking responsibility for what you did. You're blaming everybody for everything else. You have the ability to be able to be obnoxious if you want to. I'm a little concerned about letting you go to some facility or some other place somewhere and acting up. Tell me why I shouldn't be worried about that.
Because to be honest with the I've changed. That was the old me. That was years. I haven't had a write up before in 3-4 years since I left Winfield, which was a bloody.
Well, I mean, how long have you been paralyzed?
I've been paralyzed since 18.
Well, you had write-ups in 17
in
for
2017.
fighting. So, I mean, you haven't had any write-ups because you've been paralyzed. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
How have you changed? I mean, I don't hear you accepting responsibility for this horrible crime. You can say all day long you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, but a jury of 12 people decided otherwise.
I'm not saying that I don't take responsibility for the crime. I feel sorry for the people and their family, but I only tried to help them. I did not kill nobody. I was just like I say, with the wrong dude at the wrong time. I'm not saying that I don't feel sorry for the family and the people and what happened to them, but the only thing I did was try to save them. That's all. The only thing I'm trying to explain.
Mr. Martin, you wouldn't be in prison if that were true.
My paperwork showed. My
The
paperwork
jury
showed.
says otherwise. The
I
facts
never went
say
to a jury.
otherwise.
I never went to a jury, sir.
You pled guilty?
Yes, sir. I pled guilty to manslaughter
Rather
because
than run the risk of going to trial for second-degree murder.
I pled guilty to manslaughter only because of a felony theft. That's why I pled guilty to manslaughter. That's in my record.
Do we have any medical people there that can shed some information on Mr. Martin's condition?
Yes, sir. My name's Cindy Park. I'm the nurse practitioner that takes care of Derek.
Hi, Ms. Park. Ms. Park, I've viewed your video and tell us a little bit more about Mr. Martin. I think you've heard some of my concerns that I have. I mean, I'm not at all challenging his physical issues. I've got some concerns about whether or not I feel comfortable granting him some relief here. So tell me a little bit about his physical condition. And if you know anything about his personal behavior, let me know.
Yes, sir. You know, Derek presented to us about 2 years ago, and he is completely pretty much bedridden. He does get up at times. We require a special lift to get him up to put him in his wheelchair. He does have some left arm movement, but it is not a complete strength. It's definitely weaker. His right leg is stiff. His left leg, even though he has some movement on it, it's not going to be able to help him walk, but he can move it. He frequently has leg spasms because of the paralysis. All this happened when he had a neck injury and he underwent emergency surgery. And as a result of that, he just never regained function. But from a medical standpoint, he requires to be turned. He is able to give himself a bath of upper body, but for the most part, the orderlies need to change him, clean him, help him dress. But as I say, we get him up in the horror lift. Physical therapy has worked with him regularly. There's just minimal improvement of his functional status. His condition is going to be permanent. He, understandably, he is at times demeaning and demanding with the nurses, but quite honestly, any person that's had a spinal cord injury, it's phases that they go through, and he just hasn't worked through that phase. I suspect that he's in a little bit in the anger phase, and over time that will get better. But for the most part, his condition is permanent. He will need major assistance for the remainder of his life.
How long have you been personally working with him?
I have taken care of him since he came to Angola, and he's lived in a skilled nursing unit, which is my unit, which is assisted major, almost like a nursing home unit with people that have significant needs, probably about 2 years.
Okay. And during that 2 years, aside from the fact that sometimes he's demeaning and those kinds of things, how has his behavior been towards you and the staff?
There's times when he is angry and angry at us and rude. A lot of times he won't tell us what his problems are, but he'll let his mother or his grandfather know, and that's how we find out. There's times that he's a wonderful patient. And so, to be honest, I just chuck it up to the fact that his life has changed in a very negative way when he was a young man, and he's having to deal with that.
Now, the conclusion that you've reached, the medical conclusion that you've reached, this is something that you've done in conjunction with doctors, other medical professionals, et cetera, that you believe that his paralysis is permanent and will likely remain in the condition he's in?
Yes, sir.
I know it's hard to predict, and it's probably something more for us to make a decision on, but based upon what you've seen from a medical perspective, is there any chance of him harming anyone else unless they come directly in contact with him? I mean, is it possible for him to be able to become ambulatory and attack someone or anything like that?
No, sir. Basically, what he has as a weapon now is verbal.
Do you have any suggestion of where he would go if we were to grant him relief here?
Generally when we do the medical parole, we send him to a place that's an assisted living place, but there's places like Villa. We can try other facilities closer to his home, but Villa is generally where he would be a good candidate for.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I appreciate your comments. Mr. Chairman, those are the only questions I have.
Thank you.
Thank
Ms. Pearl?
Yes, ma'am. A young man are you aware of the write-up that you got in May of this year, May of 21?
Yes, sir.
Tell me what was going on that day. It was defiance, disrespect, and disobedience, aggravated.
Okay,
May 1st, 21.
okay, when I went to court, they only convict me of the disobedience.
That's true. Yes, that's correct. The 5 and the 7 got dismissed, and you only got the so the 3 stand. That's correct.
I got on my appeal, I was convicted. I was convicted of Rule 7.
Oh, okay. Okay. I don't have that information. Okay. Okay.
I got a copy of it if you would like to see it.
Oh no, that's okay. That's okay. You got convicted of Rule 7.
Disobedience.
Of the disobedience. Okay.
Yes.
What was going on? Can you, as you look back on that, what was going on that day?
To be honest with you, I was angry because of something that went on between me and the nurses, and I asked them a question, but they made it like that I cussed them out and all that, all because of a situation that went on between me and them.
And the write-up said that the nurse gave you your medicine and put the paper around the medicine in your trash can, and you just went off because she put it in your trash can by you.
That's not what happened, man.
Okay, all right. Okay, well that's very concerning for me. So prior to October 2019, when your health started declining, what programs had you taken? Had you worked on your GED?
At many facilities, I have like when I was at Winfield, I took up a GED and I got the good time class living in balance. But
Okay, yeah, that's okay. That's the only one you had.
they stopped it. They stopped it because of something that went on in the system or whatever. But then I was in school also, and they stopped that. And then when they started back, they was talking about that you have to have so many years of left to get into programs in school. So after I got shipped from Winfield, I went to Claiborne. But I was at school in Claiborne. I ended up having to get shifts because of a problem I was having with one of the staff there. Before it won't make it worse on me, I ended up getting shifts. But
Okay.
I was in school then. And
Okay.
I got shifts.
Okay. Now, so call out for the record how long you've served on this 25-year sentence.
14 years.
14 years. Okay. That's all I had. Thanks for answering my questions.
Okay, Mr. Martin,
Yes, sir.
is the nurse, I'd like to speak to the nurse there. She's around.
Yes, sir, I'm right here.
Yes, ma'am. You was talking about the residence plan that he would be able to stay at. There's a Villa Feliciana Medical Complex in Jackson, Louisiana. Is it a lockdown facility or is it where people can go and come?
I do believe they have both, sir. They have where it can be a lockdown for depending on the situation, and they can come and go also.
You know, I've sat here and listened to Mr. Marabella, Mr. Wise ask questions. You know, one of the things that is real concerning to me about this whole thing, you know, he got a write-up just in 21.
Yes, sir.
Just as quick as he goes over there and starts doing all that stuff, the first thing they're going to do is call and say, hey, y'all come get this guy and you bring him back to prison.
Yes, sir.
And the thing is, I don't want to be the one have to send him over there a problem over, get this problem here and send it over there, and then we get the problem back like we're tossing the football back and forth.
Yes, sir.
I'm just being straight up with all the family and everything else. This is a very serious crime. He's got to accept responsibility, which he hadn't accepted responsibility on some of the things that he done. Like every time they asked him, son, I didn't do this. I had to peel this. I've done this. I've done that. And then we take him over there, and then we've got another problem over at Villa Nursing Home. That is Mr. Marabella, Ms. Parole, do y'all agree with me on what I'm saying on this deal here?
Certainly, that's my concern.
And that's what I'm asking you is do you think that he would meet all the requirements and everything to go over there without causing any problem?
I do think that he would meet the requirements from a physical standpoint. I do believe that the way he currently is with the nursing staff, that he will be a challenge for the nursing staff, him and his family both. will be a challenge for the nursing staff wherever he goes unless he does change.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Martin,
Yes, sir.
you know, Mr. Martin, one of the things is, and I hate it dearly about your condition and everything, but you have got to start acting in a better manner around the facility, around nurses and things like that. And that is one of the things we look at. One of the deals we look at, if you've had a disciplinary write-up in the last 12 months, you can be denied. Here you are supposed to be in a hospital bed where you can't cause any problem, and you're still getting write-up. Before that, you had 300 some days of loss of good time. And that's concerning. I don't have any other questions.
I see that there are no further questions, so we will now hear from our support. Can we please hear from Tamara Gray, who's the mother? You have 3 minutes to speak, and please direct your comments to the board.
Hello, this is Tamara Gray, Derek Morris' mother, and I'm here for his support. I know he might seem like, he's going through, by him being paralyzed and stuff, his attitude and stuff might be a little off and stuff, but I'm here to support him, and I think he's changed a big deal since he's been gone away. And I'm just here for his support.
Thank you. Now, can we please hear from George Martin, who's the grandfather?
Yes, I'm his grandfather, as was mentioned, and I have spoke with Ms. Parks over the months, as well as Miss I can't think of her name, but anyway, the things that they saying that he's doing and what he is doing, I can imagine, being in that position. When he came in, he was walking, and now he's confined to a bed. So he's gonna feel somewhat of disgust, and he can't feel excellent all the time. So I can imagine, just thinking about that kind of helps him to act perhaps in the way you're speaking. But I have personally had Bible studies with him. I know I helped him to appreciate that repentance is one of the things that he needs in order to be forgiven. He accepts that. And I've even tested him, to see if he was reading certain scriptures, and he was able to explain the account in Job, and the fact that I didn't quote him, but he was able to give it to me, like it is. And another thing, I really empathize with Ms. Parks and the crew, because they don't have the facility or the staff to offer one-on-one attention like he needs. I've called down there about 9 or 10 times this month, trying to address some of the problems that he's experiencing, like a infection that he had for over a month. So that shouldn't, that will eventually kill a person, but he needs proper attention. And his mother and I, we're willing to help him and try to get him on his feet and provide him the necessary care that he needs, because he needs turning, he needs bathing, dressing, all of those things. And I can imagine, and I'm not downing the system, but they just don't have the staff and personnel to do that. He needs special attention. And he obtained that once he was in prison. So, it's not that it's something that he was asking for, but we're just asking to show empathy just true empathy to try to put yourself in his place and see, you know, in our place, because we love him and we want to see him do better. And he understands that what he did, even though he's not speaking the right way he should, probably the way it's coming across, but he has repented. He realized what he did was wrong, and that the only way he will be forgiven by Jehovah is by the fact that he has truly repented from his heart. And God can see hearts, we can't.
Thank you. Can we please hear from Mr. Robert Burns, who's the victim's brother?
Yes, good morning. Robert Burns here. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I don't need to remind the board about the heinousness of this crime. You have two victims here that were beaten, suffocated, and then had the apartment burned. The sight was gruesome. It was horrible. An elderly gentleman at the time, 65 years old, Mr. Stickle, and then my brother, who was 35 at the time. My brother Jerry, speaking of need for the assistance with the activities of daily living, was a quadriplegic in a sip and puff wheelchair. Couldn't move any of his limbs. I noticed listening earlier to Mr. Martin talking about how he provided first aid, or he alleged that he provided first aid. First aid comes after the act has been done. I'm curious to know why he didn't intervene if he was so concerned about the victims here. Intervention would have taken place prior to the death of these two people. My brother needed help with all of his activities of daily living. He was full quadriplegic, not a paraplegic, as is the case here that Mr. Martin's healthcare providers are indicating. Certainly, you're not going to get one-on-one care as they're saying he needs in an assisted living or a nursing home environment. So I'm not sure that either one of those are appropriate. And then the last thing that I would say, and I don't say this with malice or meanness in my heart, but it's just kind of a twist of events here that Mr. Martin, now needing assistance with activities of daily living, is coming before this board for a release, when one of the individuals he was responsible for murdering needed assistance with all of his ADLs. So I would just say that I'm hoping that the board would consider giving Mr. Martin the same consideration, mercy, and compassion that he showed my brother and Mr. Stickle those 14 years ago. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Martin, would you like to make a brief statement before the board votes?
I just wanna ask that y'all just consider my situation and ask that what if one of y'all family members that been through what I've been through, how would y'all feel, or what would y'all do about it? That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, Mr. Marabella will be voting first.
Mr. Martin, I am very sympathetic to your plight. I'm very sorry that you are in the medical condition that you are in. I don't think our system of justice wants to punish you by making you disabled in any way. However, you can function. You can speak. You can do dastardly things, and apparently you've done them. As Mr. Wise pointed out, I have some serious concerns sending you to a facility where you have already demonstrated that you can be very obnoxious, very antagonistic towards the nurses, the staff. You had a write-up recently. You said you have changed. You don't have any write-ups since 2017, and that's because you've been confined to the bed. You lost good time because of your actions. You deny your involvement. You want to paint yourself as a person who was trying to help, as opposed to participating in a horrible murder. I do sympathize with you. You're being taken care of where you are now. I have a real fear of sending you somewhere else that may not have the capacity to deal with a person who might be obnoxious or difficult to deal with. Based upon all of those things, Mr. Martin, I just can't grant your request today. That would be my vote, Mr. Wise.
Yes. Ms. Pearl?
Young man, I am encouraged by the Bible lessons and the study that you're doing with your grandfather. I urge you to continue that. But however, today, due to the write-up of May 1st of 21, in my mind, insufficient time served. You served 14 years of 25-year sentence. The victim opposition that's been expressed here at this hearing, and you have law enforcement opposition to your release. My vote today is to deny. But that is my vote, sir. Best wishes to you and your family, as well as the
At this time, I'm going to be voting. At this time, I'm going to be voting. I vote to deny because of the reasons been stated here today. Also, the disciplinary write-up in May 1st of 2021, I would not feel comfortable sending you anywhere else with those disciplinary write-ups, because the problem would eventually have to come back to us. So today, your medical parole has been denied. Thank you.